All right, welcome to the Live Different Academy podcast. I have the pleasure of sitting down with one of our students, Kaleb, who we're coming to the end of your time here in Mexico, and has been
Flew
an
by.
absolute pleasure. And so, yeah, I just want to have a chance to chat and talk about your experience coming down here. So, when you set out on this journey, you probably had some expectations, some hopes. Has this experience being a part of the academy matched those expectations?
Yeah, so for context, I had just finished my university degree and I was like getting into the job market and I was like, whoa, life's going by fast. I am not ready for this. And I thought I would just take a break for the first time in my life.
Mm,
And so I came out here kind of looking for an enjoyable experience and getting an opportunity to just do something meaningful with my
yeah,
time here. But through that, I think I've found a lot of learning about myself and just seeing all these opportunities for growth in my life that I can bring back just because I've learned so much about myself through this trip.
amazing. That's awesome. Is that a little bit of a surprise for you to learn that much about yourself through this experience?
Yeah, absolutely. I did
That's
not
awesome.
really see that coming.
It's wonderful. Yeah, no, I think there's a natural byproduct of putting yourself in a situation where you're forced outside of your realm of comfort, and you're trying new things, and you're putting yourself in a position where you don't know the next step. And so
Yeah.
whether that's relationally, in the context of living here in close proximity to people, and trying to make that work, and which you guys have done an incredible job at building a community down here, but also just that internal work and learning to be
Mm,
vulnerable and do that introspection. So I know the journey that you've been on. I've been following you, and we've had lots of good chats. And so
yeah. Yeah.
yeah, tell me a little bit about what that looks like. What's that internal landscape been for you, and that growth journey that you've been on?
Yeah, so I kind of came in like thinking like I'd be, spending a lot of time more to myself, keeping to myself. But then like I met the people, the other academy students, and just immediately formed so many connections. We
Mm.
all clicked right away and started to form like our own little functioning family here. And then of course, having your family around, really connecting with your kids. I just like love spending time with them all the time and
Oh,
it's been so great doing that. Uh, and then as well, just another thing that surprised me is just like what I was like really, looking for when I came here. I was thinking like I would come here and like do some helpful work and, that might make me feel good about myself a bit. Um, but then like I realized slowly that like I wanted that feeling because there is something like missing,
mm.
internally. Um, so like this time here has been me like kind of realizing, all right, what kind of groundwork do I need to lay when I come back to Canada and kind of build up some more pieces when it comes to like getting that like self-worth piece, building up social confidence. Um, yeah.
That's awesome. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you kind of had an expectation that there might be some warm fuzzy feelings, giving back and making a difference, putting stuff out there, but you didn't expect the level of in necessarily internal transformation, like kind
Yeah.
of finding that sense of self-worth and self-confidence, and
Hmm.
and so
A lot of that's been built up here. It's a very special place in Mexico and special culture. The people here are just so welcoming right away. You'll go to a new person's house and they're bringing you in, making you coffee and starting to cook a meal for you. It's incredible. It's incredible out here.
that's amazing. Speaking of which, we've interacted with a lot of different people, from our host families to the people that we helped work alongside to build their home, to the people that you guys gone out and just do community support visits where you visit families and offer the support. Has there been any specific person or moment that stood out to you that's really maybe taught you something, or that resonates with you, that you feel like you're going to walk away with something because of that interaction?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. The first one that comes to mind is Juan.
Mm.
So Juan is like someone that we met in our second week here, and we did a community support visit to his place, and quickly like his living situation sunk in right away.
Mm.
So a few years back, Juan got into a pretty rough car accident, and he has been paralyzed ever since. And a lot of it, could have been treated with things like physiotherapy, and covered through, your car insurance, like all of that.
Mm.
But unfortunately, you don't have those same privileges out here. And
Mm.
so, yeah, that was a huge shock to see. And like the same day I met him, like we asked, like, how could we help? And, he can't move. He lives with his mom, and she's a bit older. She can't really do all the caretaking for him. He just wanted to be washed. He just wanted to feel clean.
Mm.
So what we did was, like, I just carried him over to a different bed and washed his body, which was an incredibly, like, humbling experience. Yeah, so, like, ever since then, we all kind of, his story really resonated with all of us and his situation. So
He's not that different than you, age-wise.
Exactly. He's only a few years older, but
Yeah.
he's stuck in bed all day. He's paralyzed,
Yeah.
And so that was very, like, tough to see in a lot of ways. Yeah, and after that we were like, this can't be the last time we visit. So from then on, like, we just wanted to go back every week. So we did our best to kind of, block out some time every week to visit him.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like as you guys talk about Juan, you really became a friend. Like
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's something beautiful that happens down here, is that it's not about just people in a position of privilege helping those in need. It's about, like, building genuine, real relationships. It's
Absolutely.
like, we're giving and we're serving, and, we're part of something, and get to support Angelina, our community leader down here, who does so much incredible work. But in the process, we're really building authentic relationships. And I think Juan is a great example of that. And so,
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. When you say it was, like, humbling, I'm just curious, like, what about that experience is humbling to you? And, like, how does that kind of impact the way that you perceive yourself in the world? And like, I'm just curious. I want to unpack that a little more.
Yeah. Well, I mean, part of it was like, like washing a person is not something I've done for another human. And it's something that, like, at home, you shower every day and you just wash yourself, and you do it like it's the easiest thing in the world. But, if you can't move your lower body, like, how are you going to clean yourself? And, you don't realize, what is a privilege, what is something to be grateful for, until you empathize with another person's situation where they don't have that same luxury. You don't realize what you have until you see someone that doesn't have it, and you really empathize with them.
Right.
You could see it on TV and feel something, but when you meet the person, when you connect with them and just form a friendship, that's where something really deep and transformative happens. And then on a deeper level, like, a few years ago, I was in a pretty serious car accident, and I'm lucky to not be injured. I'm lucky to be alive. But, if that same car accident happened somewhere else, or something went slightly differently, and I was injured that same way, like, I would still have so many resources in Canada to, like, help me rehabilitate.
Right.
So, like, that realization, like, wow, like, I'm really lucky in a lot of ways, and so many people don't have those same luxuries. It's like, it changes things in your brain, and it kind of, like I would say makes me a more like wise person out in the world.
Mm,
I feel like I understand what I have better. I
right.
understand the world better.
Right. Yeah, it's not about pity. I think pity is like a very surface level emotion, but you were saying
Agreed.
it's
Yeah.
empathy, it's understanding.
Hmm.
And then when you apply that to your own life and you reflect on your own lived experience, like, yeah, there's wisdom. There's wisdom there. And so, yeah, I think that happens when you put yourself in situations where you're serving and giving back and being a part of something bigger than yourself.
Totally.
Yeah. One thing that we say at Live Different is like, everyone has wisdom to offer and learn.
Mm.
And so, yeah, when we gather, we always make sure everyone has a chance to share because of that principle that like there's no one in the authority seat and there's no one we're all here to learn and grow together. And so that's wonderful.
Yeah, that's what I love about like the circles that we did all together, and that helped really form the close connections I have with the other academy students as well. And knowing that Live Different's road team is out doing that, bringing those circles and those like equal conversations where everyone has a chance to share.
Yeah.
I really appreciate that about Live Different's work.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it was really cool to go through the program with you guys and see how much you leaned into it and were authentic in your reflections. And so I think that's where you get that, character development aspect is when you really take it to heart and you internalize what is this? What am I learning here? What is the person across from me, teaching me? And so you guys did a great job of, doing that deep reflection. And so I think that's why it was so impactful and positive for you. I'm curious. You've had a lot of different experiences. One of which is our cultural immersion week, where you live, as if you are a migrant worker coming up from the southern provinces to try to make a new life, make a couple extra dollars a day, working in the fields here. There's a lot of field workers in this community. And you live that life. You try to start from ground up, making a house out of whatever you could find, and working in the fields. Tell me a little about that, and were there any reflections or kind of lessons you felt like you learned through that experience?
Yeah, that was a crazy week. So every day we'd be waking up at like 5 a.m., walking out in the middle of like it's still dark out, and then we get on the bus, go out to the fields, and then we work for 8 hours, and it's just exhausting on our bodies. Like we are just fully taxed at the end of it. And then after that, you come home, you got to wash like the few clothes that we were able to bring, and we got to cook dinner over a campfire. And yeah, it was so much work every day. And like that week, like I had less possessions than I ever before. And yet I felt so happy, because like you're there living for the few dollars you're making each day, and you just feel grateful for each bit. You feel grateful for the food in front of you when it gets food. You feel grateful that you have these people around you that are all working together to kind of make this, functioning family work. And I'd never felt more connected with a group of people than during that week.
That's wonderful.
It was amazing. Everyone did so well. I'm really proud of like our group just stepping up whenever someone was feeling lower than the other and, needed that support, because it got hard sometimes and we all, had our lows, but, we never failed to support each other. And just community really is everything.
Yeah, absolutely.
When you're struggling with something.
Yeah, for sure. So there's probably somebody maybe listening right now who's considering the program and that whole experience, this idea of like it scares them, even like the idea of getting up at the bus early in the morning. Like, what could you say to like kind of speak to that and like maybe put someone's worries to rest about the value of that experience? And
you will never feel more proud of yourself after facing like challenges that you've never faced before. You know, it was the most empowering experience of my life.
Wow.
And I'm so grateful that I was able to do it. You know, it sounds like a lot, but like in Live Difference history, like everyone completes Cultural Immersion Week.
Yeah.
You know, like you have that support network with your group, and you will overcome every challenge. And it might seem like you can't from the outside and on paper, but trust me, you know, it will fall into place and you will feel so amazing afterwards.
Love it. That's great. Yeah, I think we have a really special group down here, and the way that you guys connected and support each other, and the journey each of you have been on as a group, but also individually. And so, yeah, I'm just curious, any more highlights that you feel like that are worth kind of reflecting on and sharing? Any nuggets of wisdom or learning that you've kind of found along the journey that you haven't talked about yet that you think that is worth talking about?
Well, you touched briefly on like the authenticity piece that kind of was reached through circles. One thing that's happened over this experience that was a massive highlight is like I came in, didn't have any prior, you know, connections with people here. So I was just coming in as myself, you know. I didn't have to like, you know, change my personality a bit for whatever friend I was with. Like I was able to fully tap into like my own authenticity. And that was so freeing, you know. And, you know, when I come home, it's like, I just want to keep that going, you know, keep that train going. And like the people in my life that I know will support me in those like, you know, really deep rooted friendships,
Right.
you know, those are the ones that'll appreciate my authenticity the most. And from what I've seen, like the friends I have back home where I feel like I can be my authentic self, like those are some of the like deepest friendships I have and most meaningful ones.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, for sure. I think, I always say that there's kind of two versions of self. There's this projected self, and who you present to the world, how you want the world to see you. You know, the person that you post on social media. But then you have this authentic self. This is the person that's just not viewing life through potential judgment or what people might think, or you're living as yourself without like irrespective of other people's opinions. You know what I mean? And you're free to do that. It doesn't mean you stop living a life of character and nobility and trying to be a good person because you're just, I'm going to do whatever I want. But it's about like, you know, tapping into your truest form of yourself and living that unashamedly.
Yeah.
Ideally, it's the best version of yourself. And yeah. And so I've seen that kind of, you know, like layers, like an ogre. An ogre is like onion has got layers. I've been seeing those layers kind of fall off of you, and you become that more authentic version of yourself. And so and I believe that, you know, that confidence in who you are and trusting that you have a good character like will take you really, really far. So yeah.
Wow.
As a friend, as a mentor, I just want to say I'm really proud of you.
I appreciate that so much, man. Thank you.
Absolutely. It's been really cool. It's been really cool to see. And I think the journey you're on is pretty spectacular. So one last question here. Somebody might be listening that's thinking about doing the academy. They're on the fence. What do you say to them? Why is it worthwhile? Should they do it? If so, why is it worth it?
Do it, please. Do it. You're going to love it. You'll have such a great experience. Learn about the world, learn about yourself. And then, like, in between all the work, you're going to have these enjoyable nights with like-minded people. You're going to go on excursions and have all these fun experiences and make incredible memories.
Hmm.
I think that this was like one of the best choices I've ever made for myself in my life. And I can't wait to see where everything I've learned takes me next.
Fantastic. I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you are interested in the Live Different Academy, make sure you check out our website, livedifferent.com. There you can find the program. You can register. Don't hesitate to reach out if you have any questions. And so I just want to say thanks again so much to Kaleb for being a guest here today, sharing your thoughts and perspectives. I appreciate you. You're the man. And so
Thanks for having me here. This is great.
Absolutely. All right. See you later.